Hello, everyone. Today, I am interviewing Jamie-Lynn Riffenberg. Hi, Jamie.
Hello.
Jamie is a longtime dear friend of mine, and I came to her with this idea, at least several weeks ago, something like that, and we decided we want to kind of make our own lamb version of Hot Ones. And for anyone who doesn't know what Hot Ones is eating hot wings while asking questions about film and television, so on and so forth. You'll see a lot of these, if you YouTube any of those, you'll find a lot of celebrities. Jamie, you're as close as a celebrity as I can find to this interview.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
But also, I thought it would be very fitting to interview you eating hot wings, and you're the lead role of our upcoming show, TRACY Jones, which has a lot of wings. We'll get into all of that as we get into it. But I just wanted to set this all up and just kind of say that's the whole point of this, is you're going to see us progressively eating hotter and hotter wings. Jamie can handle spice a lot better than I can. So I'm not going to lie, I'm really nervous, but I wore my buffalo wing socks today just for you and for me. So I think we'll get started, and you're going to see somebody kind of popping in and out. That's Taylor Clemens, the theater faculty here at Morningside. He is kind of helping us run the camera, and he's our valet of wings today. So Taylor, if you want, you can come on in and serve us our first one, and we'll kind of slowly break into this. So Jamie, I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, I will take this one. Thank you. It's a big old thing. So I'll ask you a question, and then we'll kind of get into the sauce. And I think the first few we should, in theory, be fine. But we've got some beverages just in case. But I'm really worried about this, so I actually have milk in the wings ready to go. Jamie might need it. I'm for sure going to need it about halfway through this. So this first sauce that we have is mild. Starting off really easy. Start with mild. Jamie, I'll send that to you. So this first question I have for you, Jamie, is mostly just to tell us about yourself, just kind of who you are. You can put as much on there as you want. I don't mind. There you go. All right, perfect. So tell us about you, kind of your theater history, your background. We just want to get to know you.
Yeah, so I started doing theater when I was very young. I was in a production of The Wizard of Oz. No, it's usually.
It's mild. Yeah.
I was in a production of Wizard of Oz. I was just a little munchkin. And that was 20 years ago at this point. And kind of ever since then, I just fell in love with theater. My family has always been into the arts, and my sister and I specifically have always been into theater. So growing up, watching her do theater really got me into doing theater. And so, once I got into middle school, when we started to do our own school productions of things, is when I really got into theater. I really dove into it, just going to trips for theater and seeing different productions through the school, and having our own shows, doing one-act competitions, that sort of stuff. Did all of that. And yeah, it's just been really fun. I've always done a lot more musicals than I have actual plays, stage production, sort of.
Straight plays.
Yeah, straight plays. I don't have a preference. Well, I might prefer musicals just because I love to dance.
You love to sing, you're a performer.
I'm a performer, it's what I am. So I'm a lot more familiar with doing musicals, but I love doing plays, specifically comedies. I've always kind of really eased into comedic roles and plays in general very easily. It's just been something that's been a little knack of mine.
Yep.
So it's really fun to get back into this show, which is so much of a comedy as opposed to the last few shows that I've done, which, have their moments, but they're not necessarily focused on being a comedy.
Yep.
So it's really nice to get back into something that is so strictly a comedy. I think the last one that I did that was outright a comedy was Going 5 years ago.
It's actually one of the first shows that I've kind of seen you in, actually. Mm-hmm. And one, it's just such a joy to see how much you have grown as a performer too. Like, don't get me wrong, you were great in Mamma Mia, the very first show that I saw you in, and you were phenomenal in Boeing Boeing. I mean, I remember watching it and I was like, I need to be friends with this girl. And now here we are, 5 years later. You know?
Here we are.
But it's been a joy for anybody who doesn't know. So Jamie and I, we are friends. We've acted in many shows together at Lamb specifically. And it's always such a joy to share the stage with you. We actually just were in the Mousetrap together back in November, December.
Mm-hmm. Which was quite a U-turn going from that to The Outsiders to this show, Tracy Jones. It's just been back-to-back-to-back U-turns, which has been very exciting.
I can imagine so. Well, Taylor, I think we're ready for our next wing. So, Jamie, as we're kind of getting all of this set up for our next one, I would say this one looks good. So first off, we have honey barbecue is our next sauce. So getting a tiny bit hotter, but we're still keeping it fairly easy going. So my next question for you, Jamie, is kind of transitioning into why we're here, and the set in which we are sitting on is Tracy Jones. So you're playing the titular role of Tracy Jones.
Yes.
I was wondering if you could give myself and the audience a brief little synopsis in your own words, if you will, about what Tracy Jones is, what it's about. Just to kind of, again, just to ease us in without too many spoilers or anything like that.
Yeah, Tracy Jones is about a woman who is on her last leg in one way or another, and she is just throwing a party for everyone named Tracy Jones, and women specifically named Tracy Jones, and she's trying to get everyone together and throw a party to just celebrate what it is to be Tracy Jones. And there are shenanigans and hijinks that happen, and there are a lot of great messages through it, as on top of being such a fast-paced, hilarious physical comedy sort of show, as well as just really, funny dialogue, interactions with people. It's best of both worlds. It's very funny, but it's also very sincere, which is very, it's a nice balance.
Yeah, it's definitely a show that it has a lot more depth and heart to it than you would initially kind of think. At least I found that way when I was reading the play. I was like, oh, okay, like this is comedy. It's kind of funny. And you're like, oh, there's some things that I can kind of really connect with this, and a little bit more than you would think.
Yes, definitely. It's it definitely takes you for a ride. It eases you into the show with all the comedy and setting everything up, and then it very gently kind of wraps around a lot of different messages and subjects, and kind of envelops you in it and lets you sit in it for a little bit and really just kind of see and think about what it's talking about. And it's really exciting. When I read the show, it was something that I was reading it and I thought, I have to do the show. This is one of those shows that reading all the dialogue between the characters and everything that my character specifically talks about, it was just something that I needed to do. So I was very happy that I was able to do that.
Yeah, I remember when I had heard the cast, when they had announced who the cast was all going to be, which it is you, and then without naming names of characters, but is you, and then we have Grace Powell, Diana Woolley, and Donnie Short. And I remember hearing the cast, and I was like, oh, and I read, I think, all the play, most of the play at that point, something like that, and I remember texting you, and I was like, oh, you're going to be in Tracy Jones. You're like, yes, I'm so excited, I'm so stoked, and I'm so excited for everybody to come and see that vibrant life that you have in your everyday life brought into this character, and then some.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. I'm very excited to do the show in front of an audience with the people that are involved in the show. It'll be so fun, so great.
Cool. Awesome. Taylor, we'll have you bring in our next one. Thank you very much. Our chicken valet.
That's a big one.
Do you like that name, chicken valet?
Sure, why not? It's my new title.
There you go. Okay, well, we've officially hit the threshold that I am worried about. I have only ever had the first 2 sauces, so here I've been finishing the wings and I keep dipping and eating more. I don't know where we're going to go from here, Jamie, but
We're in it together.
Yeah, we're going to do
We're
this
in it
together. The problem is that you can handle spice a lot better than I can.
I can.
So that's what's fun for me about this, though, is that I'm just interviewing you, so I can just freak out over here, and you have to hold it together.
I have
and
to
answer
hold
the
it together
questions.
and be professional here.
Yeah, but there's a reason why I was like, can we get celery and ranch, please? I'm like, we need milk. I just eat everything possible. I need a beeline straight to the bathroom. Whatever I need. So this next sauce that we have, this is our spicy garlic.
Spicy
Have you ever had this sauce before?
I don't think so. I'm not
Okay.
entirely sure.
It looks very good, but
It's very vibrant.
Yeah, I like it.
It looks like almost like a buffalo sauce.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, I was thinking it looks like a buffalo sauce. So Jamie, we were kind of been talking about TRACY JONES, right? So you are playing the titular role. What is it like playing TRACY? Tell us about your process and just bringing this character to life. What is it like being the TRACY JONES of TRACY JONES?
Yeah, TRACY JONES is a very interesting, complex character, which is something that I love so much about the character because she develops obviously throughout the show. It's just how shows are written. There's character development, and it's such, at least for me myself, it's such a satisfying development that she goes through because she starts as someone who is doing what she can, and she can kind of be quite a strong personality.
Yes.
She is quite a character, and it's very fun for me to have to take a character like that and work them into a place where people will be able to not be completely put off by them, because the point of her character is not to be like a villain or anything like that. She's supposed to be a character that you see and it makes you a little bit uncomfortable sometimes, but that's just the reality of, the human life. You have these good and these bad, not so great, pretty facets of people.
Tomato. Yeah.
You have all of these different, pieces of these people, and it's so exciting to be able to take her and really try to put those pieces together for the audience to really connect with someone who you might initially not see yourself connecting with.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. That's one of my favorite parts about the character TRACY JONES, is to just take her and make the unpleasant parts of her something that you can see in yourself and relate to, because that's reality. We all have those things about us that we don't necessarily like, and it's just human.
Yep.
And being able to take that and make people be like, oh, that's real. That's what I want to do. So it's exciting to be able to do that.
Yeah. I remember reading the play, talking to you just like a week or two ago, and saying, Jamie, you've got a hard job to do, because I think in less capable hands, the role would be very easy to just villainize.
Yeah.
And to just look at her for all of her faults, which she has many. As I talked with lead playwright Stephen Kaplan, we talked ad nauseum a little bit about TRACY and kind of how standoffish she can kind of be sometimes, and how can we kind of look through that and look through this person and their hardships and how they kind of push us off a little bit. Sorry, I'm already, I don't know if you, I know Taylor's been kind of glancing at me as like you were talking, and I'm like, well, there goes a little bit of the tip of my tongue. I'm like,
glossing over a little bit.
No, I'm sweating a little bit, but we're doing okay. We're doing fine. I am definitely going to be like, Taylor, can you come pour some milk? I know I'm going to need some milk. Yeah, absolutely. Some more. So Taylor, if you want to come and bring the next one, and if you wouldn't mind bringing some milk too, please, would be much appreciated. Yeah, so this is a great time to bring this up. Thank you so much. That we let's do this one. Thank you. So this is actually, these wings have been provided by Buffalo Wild Wings. So sponsorship, P-Dubs, thank you so very much. Please go check out Buffalo Wild Wings. They've been very courteous and wonderful to work with for this little interview process that we have here. So we're very grateful to get to do that, and
Sure.
I'm definitely going to need more milk. You can fill it. I just need a
one
little
sip.
I need a little straw, a little bendy
We
straw.
have plenty. We don't have
We,
any.
we don't have bendy straws. No.
No, sorry.
Right, thank you. I know I'm gonna go as long as I can without having to drink any milk, but when I need it, you'll know. So yes, that was. I think we kind of covered that.
Yeah.
That question about just what it's like being Tracy Jones and working with that. So our next sauce. This is our fourth one. So we're officially about halfway because we're doing 8 sauces today. So this is Caribbean jerk or
Okay.
Caribbean jerk. Caribbean. I don't know. Pirates of the. Insert word. Caribbean. Oh boy. Yeah, I can smell the spice on this one. So good luck to both of us. Yeah.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, I mean, it smells good. I'm going to try as hard as I can to stay away from that milk. But I know sooner than later I'll need it. So my next question for you is, I kind of mentioned that I talked with playwright Stephen Kaplan, and that he had kind of mentioned in his own words that Tracy Jones is almost like a sad farce. And I was curious, I wanted to pick your brain on that. Just what your thoughts are about that kind of small, vague description of what it means to be a sad farce.
Yeah, so that sauce is not bad, by the way. It's a lot sweeter than I was expecting.
Oh, wonderful. That's
Yeah,
good. That's
so
very good
you may
to
have
know.
lucked out.
Okay, good.
But yeah, so a sad farce, having done the show as many times as I have at this point and read it over and worked so many different parts of it, it's all the dialogue and everything that happens is very fast paced, kind of like a farce.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is just very quick on the uptake, and with how much physical humor there is, it's almost exaggerated to a point because everything is just big and crazy, and one thing happens and another thing happens, and things just kind of spiral out of control. And then in the sense that once you get farther into it, without trying to give too much information about the show, the content of the overlaying message of the whole show is kind of one of wanting to connect to people, and you see throughout the show how exactly that affects people in different ways and how they go about it. And it's really interesting to see all these different people kind of go about, wanting connection in different ways through the different, things that led them to seek out the connection, wanting to seek it out.
Yeah.
So it's, the content is a little sad because when you think of wanting to get connection from somebody, it's a desire for, communication and to be, talk to somebody, have somebody there for you. So it kind of stems from something that's sad, but it's very fast, quick, very high energy and crazy and funny. So it's padded very nicely with the farce part of it for the sad part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting because as I was talking to Stephen Kaplan about his play, first off, what's really interesting is he said he kind of wrote this originally, or at least had this initial concept like 20 years ago. And he's kind of fine-tuned it over the years, and he's workshopped it. It was a rolling world premiere. And he said it's always, been at the core, has always been about loneliness. And what I think is really interesting is that the version that we have, our most updated version from Stephen, is the 2022 edit. And I know he had said that kind of when he officially fine-tuned it to the point of like, oh, this is actually a cohesive play, it was in 2019. which is interesting because we had read this for our Lamb book club, and we had talked about in our discussion of like, oh, do we think that this was written because of the pandemic, which is kind of interesting, and so it's kind of a fun little spin for us to kind of contemplate and think about like, oh, does this play, is it more relevant? Is it less relevant, since we've had everything with the pandemic? And I don't know. I definitely think the whole world definitely understands that concept.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like although the specific content in the show for the characters is not necessarily dependent on like the circumstances of like the pandemic or something like that, but I feel like the content with the characters and their motives definitely aligns with that same feeling that a lot of people experienced during the pandemic of not having that, anyone around you, no one that you can talk to, no one that you can be around, and just kind of being isolated and how that affected everyone.
Yep.
So I definitely feel like, although it's not maybe the same, it definitely fits that like a glove.
Yeah, for sure. Taylor, I think this one was really good, surprisingly. Yeah.
Number
like you said,
4.
Number 4 is
What a curveball.
pretty sweet, yeah.
That was a lot sweeter than I was expecting.
What's kind of nice about this too is that I like that we can kind of pace ourselves a little bit, and we're not like forced to like, oh, I have to think through all of this.
But this one will be fun. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm one sauce ahead of you. That one lingers.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's not bad.
Taylor's also eating them, so if you see any teardrops run across the camera screen, that's because of him.
It's just me.
Okay, good to know. I mean, I thought the Caribbean Jack lingered a tiny bit too, but it was more like
a tang at the end.
I took a breath in. I was like, ooh, like when you have a nice mint and you like feel it in your breath. Like, ooh.
It's like a cool hot, but this one's like a hot hot.
Yeah. So, okay, so our 5th sauce, I'm gonna showcase this for a second. This is our Thai curry. So number 5, Thai curry. Oh no, I don't smell much. So this is okay. I think this is maybe the last of the doable ones. Oh yeah, I guess it does kind of smell like brown sugar. Okay, so for my 5th question for you is, what has been your favorite thing of this process, or favorite things? It doesn't have to be just one, but what have you enjoyed about the process of working on Tracy Jones, whether it be really diving into the character, working with the ensemble that you have? I don't know, just want to pick your brain.
I mean, besides the fact that I mentioned in the first question that it just feels nice to get back into something that's very much a comedy, because that's where I feel at home, is in a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
The cast is so wonderful. I actually petitioned for Grace to be in this show because the original dates that we were going to be performing overlapped with days that she was going to be out of the state for her Poetry Out Loud competition. And so it was something that we weren't sure if we were actually going to be able to have her because of the fact that she was going to be gone for 3 years, however many days.
However long, for the trip.
And I was very sad because I did Hollywood, Nebraska with her.
Yeah, you and Grace are both on that trip.
Yes, we were in Hollywood, Nebraska together, and she played the neighbor's child, I believe.
Yes, yeah, she was the next door neighbor.
I'm trying to remember what my character's relation to everyone else was. And I was just somebody.
You were a sister and a daughter.
I was a friend of the family.
Yes, that's right. You're a family friend.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So, but I worked with her on Hollywood, Nebraska, and it was just such a wonderful experience, and I just loved her so much. She just was a little tiny, wonderful creature that I wanted to protect with all of my being. So when I heard that there was the potential of her being in the show, I was like, she has to play this role. She has to.
I mean, the role of Julie was written for Grace Powell. You know?
Yes, I was just so happy that she would be that character for me, and I needed her to be her. So when I was not sure that she would actually be able to be in the show, I was very sad. And then stuff happened and the show got pushed back like a week or so. And it just lined up perfectly that, she's not going to be out of the state during performances now. So it won't be an issue. And I told them, I was like, I don't care like what we have to do while she's gone. Like if she's not here, I don't care what happens. If we can have her, I want to have her because I need to have her.
Yeah.
So, and then of course working with Donnie and Diana, I've known them so closely now for the 5 years that I've been back, and especially working with Lamb. And it's just an environment where something that is so big and crazy and also sad and, emotional, it makes it so easy to tap into those places because these are all people that I feel very comfortable and familiar with. And it's just made the whole rehearsal process so easy and smooth and wonderful. And also we have a lot of fun during rehearsals too.
Oh, I can imagine.
So, we giggle on stage sometimes and Russ yells at us and it's fine. But yeah, it's just been a really, really wonderful experience to have this, it's a smaller cast, and it's just been so wonderful to have us all together.
Yeah, that's always one of the best things about doing shows, especially when you get to do it with people that you know or that you've worked, or even if you don't know and you just really click, just having a great ensemble there's nothing better. And yeah, like you said, as our temporary partnership, as we kind of just very suddenly and kind of brashly moved into Morningside space, we were like, okay, we got to make some adjustments, but we'll make do. And so obviously the Outsider, we kind of had to push back a whole month. I think we kept Gruesome Playground Injuries at its same time. And then we just decided, just closing a show and then opening another one. Let's push Tracy Jones back just 1 week, and it's worked great.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. Even though I went from one show to another show, literally back to back. We closed one day, and I started rehearsals for the show the next day. Mm-hmm. It's been not nearly as chaotic and stressful as I imagined it would be.
Yeah, the fact that we literally closed The Outsider, and then you're like, yep, tomorrow I have rehearsal for the next show.
Yeah, closed on Sunday, started rehearsal on Monday, which was an experience, but it was not bad at all. So I have no complaints, genuinely.
We theater people are used to just running from one into the other.
Tight deadlines, turnarounds, all that.
Yeah, within 1 month, we will have opened and closed 2 shows and getting ready to open a 3rd show.
Yeah.
So, Lamb, we've been very busy, and we're grateful to all of you for sticking with us.
Yes.
Taylor, I think we're ready. You worried me. That one
didn't linger.
Yeah. No. I think at this point my tongue is so numb that it's probably just going to plop out at some point.
It was
Try not to cry with this one, bro.
Oh no. Oh no. This is our, what are we on, number 6?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, all right, let's get it.
I think this is when you said it goes up a lot.
That's true. Here's the thing.
It does.
I picked these sauces too. That's the fun part. Is I was looking at the roster of all the sauces, and I was like, all right, we don't want to start with like something that barely has any flavor. Let's get a little flavor to us. But I at least tried the first 2, so it was kind of like first couple, and then several in the middle, and then I went, let's just go for literally the 3 hottest.
This will be exciting.
Yeah, so this is the 3rd hottest sauce that Buffalo Wild Wings has. This is mango habanero. I can see little seeds in here.
Habanero.
Yeah, oh boy. Okay. Well, luckily, I have to make you eat this first, so you get to eat it first. I'll ask the question, and then I'll just die.
Flavor, so it's
okay, all right. Actually, you've had this flavor before?
Not necessarily from here, but I've had mango.
Okay. So my 6th question for you is, as you can see behind me, there's kind of a lot of food, and we are in, the set kind of takes place in this back room at this Jones Street Bar and Grill. As, like you said, you've invited all these Tracy Joneses to, come to this party and just, hey, let's get together, let's mingle, let's all share this commonality. We all have the same name. But a huge element to this show is food. Hence why we're doing this at all.
Yes.
Is there's actually a lot of food that is consumed and utilized throughout the show, including boneless wings, which is why we're like, let's do boneless wings. That sounds fun. That is kind of what inspired this whole idea, was that premise of the show. So my question for you is, being as there's a lot of food and this is a very kind of physical comedy, and there may or may not be some messes made, some kind of spillage of various kinds. What is it like working on that? Because you've talked about, Boeing is a kind of a farce through and through. Outsiders, a little bit less. It's just a good kind of comedy. So what is it like working with a lot of physical, especially because the food is almost an element in itself?
Oh, yes. It's very exciting. You're going to have fun with this one.
Oh, no.
Don't swallow too quickly. It will travel.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'm regretting already dipping half of this in, but let's go.
But yeah, so the show incorporates so much. I mean, the physical humor, for one, is there's so much just chaos with running around and trips and, just miscommunications and just a lot of crazy nonsense that happens. And it's just all big and boisterous and very fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you throw food of different types on top of that, on top of just the big things that happen, and then also with just the littler nuances of the show as well, when it comes to just you're at a party, and so you're going to be, nibbling on stuff. You're going to be fidgeting with stuff. You're going to be checking things.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be dying on the inside slowly because you ate a sauce that's too hot.
What are you talking about? I just feel my tongue slowly getting numb from the back going forward. And I'm like, huh. But maybe a toxic trait of mine is I'm like, don't do it. Don't drink that milk. You can do it. You're a strong, independent man that doesn't need that milk.
But yeah, so it's very it's exciting because although there is so much food, one of the fun parts about everything is that it's not all real food.
Mm-hmm.
So part of it is remembering which food is real, which food isn't, because there is food that we eat, there is food that we do other things with. So it's a matter of knowing, this is the bowl or plate or whatever that I need to, snack from or actually give to somebody to eat. And this is a bowl that is going to travel places for one reason or another.
Okay. So it makes a mess of some kind. Right?
Yes, there's a lot. I mean, we have wings, we have hot sauce, we have chips and dip, we have just regular chips, we have soda, we have, I think we have other things as well. There's celery. There's a lot of celery, so much celery. There's just so much food. There's little cracker pretzel little things.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. Sorry. Keep going.
And so it's a lot of fun to have to be able to act alongside of food. It's a different type of acting with the food because you have to take into consideration that you're drinking soda or you're eating food, but you're also still having to put on a performance. You're also still having to be on stage and be aware of what's happening and knowing when the cues are coming up and all that.
Yeah.
So you have to make everything look natural in a way that is not natural. And it's very exciting. It's exciting as an actor, and it's exciting to, have that realism as a part of the show, as opposed to just stage eating where you're just faking everything.
Yeah.
And just pretending that you're eating the fake wings or whatever. It's exciting to have those things that are actually real, and you're actually having to take a drink of something because you had too many chips and now your mouth is dry. So it's just very fun.
Yep.
And it's also very fun to work with the food and the messes that happen from them.
Mm-hmm.
As of today, we have done almost everything food-wise, food and drink-wise.
Yep.
And it is an experience. I've worked with food before. I've had to make, I was in Miracle on South Division Street, and I had to make some sort of fruit salad thing for that show on stage, and then we ate it. And that was fine and fun, and that was great. But when it comes to a show like this, where you are having food and you're eating it and you're also wearing it at different points in the show, it's just something that's very exciting, and I'm very excited to really dive in, literally. And metaphorically, to the craziness that will ultimately be the final product of the show. Yeah. So we haven't gotten that far quite yet, because it's a lot of work to get yourself completely covered in food and drink, and then have to like sit after the show and be like, okay, let's do notes. Okay, let's clean everything up 6 times.
Oh, I'm doing this again tomorrow.
So we didn't want to have to worry about me getting so dirty through all the rehearsals. We're, as of tomorrow, I think we're really going to just like go for it and see what happens, and then go from there. And then if we need to do it a few more times before we actually open, we will. But it's more of a testing to see just how everything looks, how everything feels, because it's going to be a mess, and it's going to be a fun one at that.
I hadn't really thought about the fact that you're battling both real and this fake kind of prop food, and so it's not going to be fun taking a bite out of something you're like, oh, that's not digestible. That's not fun. And I know that there's kind of this term in theater. A lot of directors say they kind of hate working with 3 things. At least kind of the snobbier directors are often like, oh, there's 3 things that directors always hate working with: is children, live animals, and food. Because they each have their own complications and difficulties. And like food, there's always that worry of like, am I going to choke on stage? Am I literally like, am I going to be in peril? Especially there's a portion of the show where you are alone on stage. And maybe your co-actors are just like, oh, she's really in it tonight. She's really active.
Yeah, really active tonight. But it's very exciting, because with those 3 things specifically that you mentioned that are like the taboos of working with them, they're so unpredictable for the most part, because children and animals are they have minds of their own. They can do whatever they want because they may not necessarily understand everything. And then food, although it's more predictable than the other 2, you don't know exactly how things are going to go. You don't know how something is going to fall. You don't know how something is going to splash. You don't know how anything, you don't know those sorts of things. It's going to be different. It's a different beast that you have to deal with every single time that you do it, which is something that's very fascinating to me. But it's also something that you have to be super conscientious about when you're on stage, because ultimately those are things that you have to kind of make sure that aren't going to be an obstacle for yourself. So it'll be a process. It'll be fun.
Well, I know when we had read this for book club, there was one of our members had really said, they're like, this is a funny play, but I'm really worried about the food element of just like, I worry about just like the safety. I was just the whole time was like, are they going to be okay? And I'm like, like that, we always take into account your safety, and that's why we rehearse. That's why we run through things. We don't just throw you to the wolves and say, figure it out. Whatever happens, happens. No, everything is methodically planned as much as we possibly can. But like you said too, and that's what's so wonderful about theater is no performance is ever the same already off the bat. Every theatrical performance you go to, you could go 3 nights in a row and you're getting a completely different experience. And then you add in a whole nother element of food, which is, like you said, it's unpredictable in a sense. It's like you could really see a vastly different show 3 nights in a row just with how the food reacts.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's with the way that the food is handled in this play specifically, it will be so fun to just see how it plays out each time, because although we're doing our best to control and kind of make sure we could reproduce the same results every time, it's impossible. You can't. And so it'll be fun to see how we end up doing that. So it'll be fun. It'll be great.
I'm excited. I think we're ready for our next one, Taylor. yeah, as we're talking about all this food, I can't remember. I feel like we've watched this movie together, but if anybody at home, it's like a 1986 movie. It's called Better Off Dead, with John Cusack, and it makes me, as we were just talking about, like the unpredictability of food. There's this scene where it's like the mom is like supposedly this terrible cook, so she makes like this like green sludge thing, and he pokes it and it like crawls off the plate.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh, like we're not necessarily getting. It's not that type of interacting with food, but I'm very excited to what people are about to see.
Yeah, it'll be exciting for both us and the audience.
Well, Splash Zone. No,
Yeah.
okay. We'll get into our 7th. Taylor, how was this one? Was this
I thought it was less spicy than the previous one.
really?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So that was me.
But this is also, you guys are more attuned to spice than me. So, okay. Well, this next sauce that we have is called Wild. The name already in of itself is a bit worrisome, but I will, we'll take it. Okay, I smell this one. Okay. Kind of smells like a buffalo again.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so Jamie, my next question for you, as we're kind of slowly getting to the end, we're in our 7th one here, is so we've recently seen you on the Lamb stage in our November-December show, The Mousetrap, we were just talking about, you and I were in, and then you were just in our early April show, The Outsider, and now you're in Tracy Jones. So what's next for you, being as that you literally have practically gone from show to show to show, and you and I even worked on a little murder mystery in between those 2 shows in December. What's kind of the next step for you? And then additionally, I'd be curious if you have any dream roles or anything that you are, I'm so worried. I see Taylor, off in the wings. He just had the final sauce and he looks like he's crying. Oh no. Oh, I'm so worried about this one. You already took a bite.
I did.
Goodness.
This
Okay.
looks fine.
This one's fine?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
All
fine
right.
with this one. It doesn't linger as much as the last one did, but it's still fine.
Perfect. But anyway, yeah, so what's next for you theatrically
Yeah.
and everything?
So I am very excited to potentially have a little bit of a break after this one because, like we mentioned, I've had 4 shows practically back to back at this point. I did The Mousetrap, and then I did that murder mystery, and then I did The Outsider, and now I'm doing Tracy Jones, and the gap between all of them has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller every time that I did the shows. So I am excited to hopefully have at least a little bit of time off, just in between, to just kind of have time to reset my brain because it's just been firing nonstop for the past 4 months.
Yeah.
So more than 4 months. When was Mousetrap? December-ish?
We opened in November.
We started rehearsals in October.
Yes.
So it's been
Yeah. Like half a year
months
practically.
at this point,
Yeah,
yeah.
that you've just been
That's
working on
wild.
theater.
I did. It's wild.
Yes, it is. Yeah, you're right. This really is not.
No, it's not
that.
bad.
I'm like, I'm going in for. I can feel it, but it's not.
Yeah. So I'm excited to just probably have a little bit of time off.
Yeah, just have time to do yourself.
Yeah, because I haven't had my afternoons in a while.
That's fair.
So I'm excited to have that. What's after that, who knows? I'm already looking forward to the next season. There are a lot of shows that I'm really excited. That keeps my interest from the reveal party.
Yep.
So I'm excited for a lot of those shows. And of course, not necessarily theatrical, but I'm going to be going down to Omaha again to do Omaha Fashion Week for the fall. We have our auditions for the model call over the summer, so we're going to be doing that. So I'll be hopefully getting back into that, which I've done a number of times. And then who knows what may come my way.
Yeah.
There's a lot that could potentially happen, and I usually just kind of take it as it comes. So I don't have too much on my docket. For dream roles?
Yeah, I'm just curious if there's any role out there that you're like, oh man, I really love to do this. Or
I don't know. There are dream shows that I would like to do.
Yeah, so what are some dream shows?
It's a lot of musicals because, as I said, I grew up doing musicals, and so that's primarily what my knowledge and that's what my interest leads toward. I would love to do, Hades Sound.
And we saw that. Oh, that was so
we did
good,
see
too.
that, and it was incredible. The music in it, and just the atmosphere, everything about it, and the fact that it's a live band, everything about it is just what I would love in a show. So if there was ever an opportunity for me to do Hades Sound, I would love to do that. I would love to do All Shook Up again. I've done that several times, actually.
What's one more?
What's one more? I would love to do it in a bigger, setting. It was a middle school and a high school production that I did, I believe, of those shows. Or maybe it was 2 high school productions. I can't remember. One was the summer and one was actual high school production. And I would just love to be able to do that show again, and just with a bigger ensemble, with a bigger stage, a bigger everything. I would love to do that with just on a bigger scale. And then the ones that hit home, because I grew up watching Rent. Rent is one that I've always wanted. Maureen specifically, I love Maureen. She's insane, and that speaks to me. And also Hairspray has been one that I've always wanted to do. Hairspray has a special place in my heart. That was one of the first musicals I saw with my aunt that really got me into musicals specifically, but theater. It was kind of in between when I first did my first show when I was really young, and then kind of before I got back into doing it. So it was one of those shows that I went and saw with her that really made me want to get back into theater. So that's always been, and the music in that show is just it's one of the favorites that I have. All the music in that show is so fun and good.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's going to be impossible for our audience members especially if you know the music to Hairspray, to not be singing along with the ensemble.
Yeah, so it'll be that's one that is one of my dream shows to do. And then apart from that, there's trying to think. I've always wanted to do. Is it Finding Neverland?
Finding Neverland.
Yeah, I've wanted to do that one so much. Bandstand is
that's
one.
such
I
a
love
great one.
the dancing and the music in that one so much. Those are all. I mean, they're all musicals that I'd love to do, but those are ones that I've seen and I've heard of that have just held a very, very special spot in my heart.
Yeah. Well, and that's, with theater, you don't really get to pick and choose what shows you get to do. It's like, oh, what are your dream roles? You're like, no, here's some dream shows, some dream opportunities, but it's like, that's why we call them dream, because very seldomly do we like, oh, I want to be in this show, and then somebody goes, oh, great, here you go, you could be in this show. That's not how theater works, but, it's so fun to discover some shows, again, like Tracy Jones, you've been waxing poetically about how much you enjoy being in the show, and like, this is a new show, it's a regional premiere here in Sioux City, and you hadn't heard of this show, almost nobody has heard of this show because it's a new work, and yet here we are, like, so excited to be producing the show, and personally, for me, I, like a dream, not a dream role or even show, but I just want to get on stage with you again. I texted you several months ago as I was rereading through the script for Hate Mail, and I was like, Jamie, do you remember we did Hate Mail? That was such a fun. It was like, man, we should do another 2-person show. I just love sharing a stage with you. You're such a giving actor, and it's so fun diving deep. After rehearsals of like. The director oftentimes will be like, yeah, Russ, you go ahead, you leave. We're going to sit, we're just going to chat about the show. We're going to dive deep, and let's run lines some more. Oh, have you thought about this? And I love, because I feel like we work so well together, is that we can use constructive criticism, but also push each other and go, hey, could you try this for me? And, oh yeah, will you try? Absolutely, and let's work it and find it together.
Yeah, having those conversations is one of my favorite aspects of theater, is because everything is contextual. I mean, there is a director that ultimately says, this is how I envision the show, but it's always an open conversation of what exactly, like, me being this character, what do I feel, how do I interpret different things I've been saying, what's the context, what is the meaning, the reasoning that I'm saying and doing the things that I'm doing, and what do other people think? Because that's the way that you really get to the bottom of the characters and the shows, is really being open with the people. and being able to have those conversations and really dig in deep, which was something that we did thoroughly for Hate Mail, which was very fun. We also did that quite a bit for Mousetrap as well, which was it was so nice. So yeah, it's fun. It's one of the more pleasant aspects of theater.
Yeah, so again, as you were talking about, with the ensemble earlier, of you love working with Grace and Donnie and Diana, of just having great people to surround yourself with and to create this craft is just one of the best things.
Yeah, they're people that I feel comfortable talking to, and we all feel comfortable around each other, so we have no qualms with asking somebody to clarify something, or like, what do you mean? Like, I don't understand the point of this line, or how it's being performed, or like, why is it being said like this? Can you kind of just tell me what the reasoning is for that? And it's so easy with all of them. It's very nice, and it always helps the process just really get that much better for everyone involved.
All right, Taylor, let's bring on, and if I could get some more milk, please.
Oh, you'll definitely want it.
Oh, good. I mean, Jamie, who has been a trooper, hasn't used any milk yet. I'm curious if she's going to need some. Probably.
We'll see.
Being as Taylor looked like he was crying,
and I had to pour a little milk for myself.
Oh wow! So. All right, and I'm thinking, let's eat this at the exact same time.
Okay.
All right,
We'll
let's
cheers.
suffer
We'll
through.
cheers.
Yeah, we'll cheers.
Let me go get your milk here first.
Oh yes, please do. So yes, if you have managed to stay with us this long, because I realize here we are, we could just talk on and on and on. This is the best and worst thing about doing an interview with one of your best friends, is that we get on tangents and we're like, oh, this is fun. But yeah, so if you've managed to stay this long, we thank you. I'm not sure how we're gonna do after this, so I wasn't planning to do this, but I'm a little worried now, so I'll just throw out the thing. Tracy Jones does open on May 10th, and it runs through the 19th. On our opening night, we actually have a fun little event called Pack the House, where we are trying to sell every single seat. We have about 144 seats, I believe, that we're trying to fill. All tickets are $10 on opening night. So $10 on the 10th. We want you to come, bring all of your friends, all your family. We want to pack the house because we want to use this time to celebrate this new transition to our temporary partnership with Morningside. We figured, what no better way to do it than with a great, fun, new comedy. So again, Tracy Jones opens the 10th and runs through the 19th.
Yes.
Okay, are you ready?
I am ready. What's the name of this beast?
Yes. Okay. So I'll ask the question, and then we will just suffer together. And
Perfect.
I can't promise I'm gonna stay in this seat, but I'm gonna try my best. I'll glue myself down. All right. So this sauce. Wow. This literally says "warning" on it. That is. Did you see that? The sticker on the sauce says
say warning.
Warning. Thank you, Buffalo Wild Wings. Again, sponsorship. Thank you. So this is called Blazin'. All right. Oh no, I've already got some on my finger. I almost licked it off. Okay. All right. It doesn't smell like it's about to kill me, but
it's deceiving.
all right. And I'm gonna, Taylor, can I get another chicken wing too? Can I just something that's not gonna be drenched? Because I'm gonna go hard, right? Like I'm not
Might
gonna
as well.
fully drench it, but thank you so much.
Jamie, do you need another one?
Yeah, might as well. Who knows? You may be a maniac and you may want to eat the whole thing. you may be like, ooh, I want more. All right, so I'm gonna
I'm a little scared.
Slather this. If you're scared,
I was
then,
fine until you said there's a warning on it.
Yeah,
And then I got a little anxious.
I have done surprisingly well, and I'm sorry if this has been disappointing to anybody. I really thought I would be crying in my seat, but you know what? I'm proud of me. I've been doing good. I don't know how I'm gonna do with this, but so Jamie, I'll ask this question, and then we can.
It smells familiar. Interesting.
So does it smell like it's blazing?
Yeah.
I'm so late. Okay, so our final question is just, what do you want the audience to take away when they leave from seeing Tracy Jones? So what would you like people to kind of consider? So cheers to you. Here we go. That was a massive bite.
Is it gonna hit after? Is that what it's gonna do?
Okay.
It
So like I don't
It
taste
is.
anything. Should I
It's gonna hit after.
I dip more? Because I feel it in the back of my throat now.
Did I not get it on my tongue? Is that what happened?
I don't know. To dip some
I
more.
can feel it. In
I
my
want you to
throat.
suffer as much as I'm suffering.
You
Oh,
said
no.
you're joking.
Oh no! Okay. So Jamie, what would you like our audience to lead with? You feeling it yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's taking a minute for it to hit my throat, but that's the tough part. Is it's in the throat.
Oh, it's in the throat. Yeah, it's like on my
Yeah.
uvula. Oh.
So what I want,
You got this. And
what I
got this
want
too.
people to take away from the show is that there are different ways to deal with those feelings of isolation and wanting those connections with people.
Mhm.
And you don't have to be hard on yourself. There are not so pretty parts of everyone involved.
You got your
And
not so pretty parts of people.
yeah, they're not so pretty aspects of everyone, and that's real life. That's the reality of humanity, and we don't need to be so hard on ourselves. And we also don't need to think that we're the only ones experiencing any sort of certain thing, because everyone is experiencing their own things, whether or not it's in the same way that you may be or you may not be. Everyone's dealing with similar feelings, just in different ways, and you just need to be able to you need to be able to accept that and just make peace with it, not beat yourself up too much about it.
I think weirdly enough. Oh, it hurts so much. Oh, you're welcome, folks at home. This is what I've been expecting this whole time. Oh, I'm distraught.
It does. That one does hurt. It hurts. I'm a little teary-eyed.
I think a little, huh?
Yeah.
Well, this is what I think is so poetic, Jamie, is what you're talking about, is that life hits people differently, and these wings are hitting us differently.
We're
Is
dealing
that-
with it differently.
Yeah, is that-
definitely.
Where, I'm probably pulling all focus and distraction from you, and I'm so sorry. Taylor, curse you. Oh, this is so harmful.
This was your idea.
I know it was my idea. Oh, the stage lights hurt my eyes. Oh, I can feel every sense right now. Oh, but yes, Jamie, what you were saying is, I'm just gonna nurse this milk. Don't mind me. Is that we all experience things differently, and we're all going through different things in life, and we can experience the same thing, but how it affects us differently. Obviously, the hot wings or loneliness or these trials and tribulations that we all experience in life, is that we hope that that's what you take away with the show, right? Oh, I don't even know if I can think anymore. Sorry, what else did you have to say on this topic?
I know that's about it. It's just everyone deals with similar things in different ways, and everyone deals with. It's all just a matter of being people, and we need to just be okay with that, and not take it out on ourselves and not take it out on other people, because you don't know what other people are dealing with, and you don't know how they may see what you're dealing with. So
Yeah.
it's all, everything is everything, and you just have to have more faith in yourself and others to deal with what you have to deal with.
Yeah, and I think that it's this idea that we're not alone, and we can rely on other people for these things we're going through, whether it's asking somebody off stage to come pour you another glass of milk, or this last show we just did in the art gallery through some playground injuries. It covered a lot of really intense themes, and we put some trigger warnings in there, and we also put kind of the suicide hotline prevention. Just said, like, hey, if you're struggling with things, like, there are people and resources that are here to help you, and we want to help you. And that's ultimately what we as theater artists, we want to do, is we want to start these conversations, and we want to connect. We want to have that human connection with you and with our friends and our community, and just acknowledge that we're not alone, even if some days we may feel it, and that we may feel isolated, we may feel the things we're going through are very individualistic, that everybody has gone through something similar. And how can we extend that olive branch and just give people kindness and courtesy? And it's like you said, you know, your character of Tracy Jones, she's a little rough around the edge. She's a little hard to love sometimes. But if we can push past that, push past this person is a little hard, a little difficult to deal with on the exterior, how can we look internally and evaluate and really connect and sympathize with people?
Yeah, and definitely a big part of it, the show, is or at least for Tracy, is that there are a million different ways for you to fix something, and that's important to realize, is there isn't just one way out of something, and you have to be able to realize that just because it's not the one way out that you're seeing, that doesn't mean that there's not another one there, and you need to be open to those things.
Yeah. I appreciate you, Jamie.
I appreciate you.
I love and appreciate everything that you've said today, and I don't know if you have any other last-minute thoughts or anything you want to say about Tracy Jones or anything of the sort.
Just really come to the show and laugh, and also, let yourself be vulnerable. Let yourself see yourself and these different people in the different ways that they portray themselves, and really, try to take it in as much as you can. Let yourself be emotional. Let yourself be angry with these people, and also sympathetic and empathetic, and just really try to see everything about all of these people, because the show is really more than meets the eye, and I think it's really important to be able to go into the show knowing that it's more than just a comedy. It's more than just fast-paced humor and physical comedy and that sort of stuff. There's a lot to be thought about and a lot to be seen in the show itself, and in the characters, and in the dialogue, and in just the way that we behave. So just come into it with a completely open mind, and feel free to be sad, laugh, cry, do whatever, just let yourself have it, let yourself take it in, and really feel the show. I think it's important for a show like this to really be consumed in that way, as opposed to just observed.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, I think something I would say is a dear friend of mine once told me that, all emotions are good emotions as long as you process them, and you process what you're feeling and you're experiencing. And I think that's true in everything that you do, right? So if you come to this show, it's okay to be upset, to get angry. It's okay in everyday life to feel lonely, to have these emotions. We want you to be okay. We want you to process and think about what you're going through. And if you can't process that, reach out. There are people in this community and in this world that do care so deeply about you, even if they don't know you. And that's what's really beautiful about Tracy Jones, is there's this woman who reaches out to every Tracy Jones that's ever existed, in theory, and how can we try and form these connections with people that we have similarities with, and yet we may have nothing in common with.
Yeah, and you don't have to, both watching the show, but also just in life, you don't have to like everything about every person. You can, it's completely natural to be not completely on board, to not completely love everything about every person, because you can't. That's not possible. And you need to be able to allow yourself that without getting caught up in it. And I think that's important to, see these characters as we're portraying, as we all have a lot of different sides to us, and it's so completely natural to not like all of these different aspects of these characters, but that's okay. You don't have to. That's what makes them human. You're not going to like everything about all of these people that in life, and that doesn't necessarily make them bad people. It just makes them complex. It makes them, a little bit more textured. You have to work a little bit more, and that's okay. Yeah.
Well, if you are still watching this at this point, thank you so very much for sticking this out with us. Jamie, this has been such a pleasure to eat some wings with you, die a little bit on the inside.
Can't feel my throat anymore, but it's fine.
Yeah. We won't tell Russ, as you know, we literally open the show later this week.
Yeah, that's fine.
As we are recording this on Sunday, May 5th. But we would really love to encourage you to come to Lamb Theater. Our performances are all held on Morningside University's campus in the Klinger Neal Theater, located at 3700 Peters Avenue. We have performances Friday and Saturday, May 10th and 11th at 7:30 p.m. and the 12th at 1:30 p.m. And then the following week, we have performances. We actually have a Wednesday night show, so Wednesday the 15th, Thursday the 16th, Friday the 17th, all at 7:30. We have a Saturday matinee on the 18th, a Saturday evening at 7:30, and then we're ending the show on Sunday the 19th at 1:30 p.m. So you have 9 opportunities to come see this very funny show. Again, $10 for a ticket for our opening night performance on the 10th. We hope to see you there. Jamie, it's been a pleasure. I'd just like to say thank you to Taylor Clemens, who has graciously been our chicken wing valet. Thank you for the milk. And thank you to Buffalo Wild Wings for supplying us with the wings as well. So, Jamie, it's been a pleasure. We did it.
We did it. Thank you.
So, thank you, everyone.